Welcome to Debt Matters. Today we are looking at a newly proposed emergency energy scheme from the Resolution Foundation.
Right, and we really want to figure out what it actually means for your household finances and, well, the broader UK collections sector as a whole.
Exactly. Because as wholesale gas prices steadily climb and those inevitable winter pressures start to build across the country, energy affordability is becoming a major, unavoidable concern.
It really is. You just can't escape it when the temperatures drop.
Yeah, so today we are connecting the dots between your household energy bills, rising debt, and responsible collection practices.
Because to understand the potential impact on debt, we first need to break down the hard numbers of the proposal itself.
Right, let's get into those numbers. The Resolution Foundation is proposing an emergency scheme that would cut annual energy bills by up to $175.
But, this isn't a blanket discount for everyone. It is strictly linked to household earnings.
Okay, how strict are we talking?
Very strict. It is restricted to households where the highest earner takes home £24,000 a year or less.
Wow, 24,000 pounds. So that draws a very fine line. When you map that threshold onto the UK population, you are targeting around 40% of households.
Yeah, which is a massive portion of the country.
It really is. And because of that scale, the estimated cost to the taxpayer is around £2 billion.
Exactly. And the timeline they are looking at would see this scheme potentially launch alongside the January 2027 energy price cap adjustment.
Let's talk about that timing for a second. Getting a $175 discount spread across a whole year, right when winter peaks, it feels a bit like handing a winter coat to someone standing in an absolute blizzard.
I mean, that is a pretty accurate way to picture it, yeah.
Like, sure, it gives you a layer of protection, right? But it doesn't actually change the weather. You are still standing in a storm.
Right, the storm is still raging all around you.
So is $175 spread across an entire year actually enough to keep a family out of the red? Or is it merely a drop in the bucket against these rising wholesale gas prices?
Well, to answer whether $175 is enough, we have to connect this proposal to the actual financial reality of those 40% of households right now.
And that reality is pretty harsh. Lower-income families remain highly exposed to energy shocks.
They absolutely do. If we look at the previous energy crisis, households in poorer areas reduced their energy use considerably more than those in wealthier areas.
You just turn the radiators off.
Yes, and crucially, much of that reduction has never been reversed.
Wow. So they just adapted to freezing in their own home.
Exactly. And the wider financial fragility across the country is just stark. Over a quarter of UK households report they could not afford an unexpected £850 expense.
Over 25% of the country doesn't even have the cash for a broken boiler or a car repair.
Right, there's zero buffer.
So if people in these poor areas have already cut their energy use to the bone and they haven't turned the heating back up, how does a discount arriving in January 2027 actually help them navigate the immediate vulnerability they face right now?
That is the big question, but we have to look at the purpose of the proposal. It is not meant to be a total cure for the affordability problem.
Okay, so what is the main goal then?
It is a targeted preventative measure. It is designed to stop households from falling further behind when their winter energy use inevitably rises.
Because even if you keep the thermostat low, you just physically need more gas in January to keep the house from freezing.
Precisely. That baseline financial vulnerability directly feeds into what happens when the money simply isn't there.
Yeah, the dangerous cycle of juggling bills and accumulating debt.
Exactly. When essential bills rise faster than disposable income, people start juggling payments across multiple commitments.
Like energy, rent, council tax, credit cards, loans, all of it.
Right. And missed payments quickly escalate into arrears.
And we have the numbers on exactly how bad that escalation has gotten. According to Optum, total domestic energy debt reached a historic $4.79 billion in the first quarter of 2026.
Which is just a staggering figure.
It is. Managing this feels like playing a highly stressful game of financial whack-a-mole.
Oh, for sure.
Like, a household pays the energy bill so the lights stay on, but then they miss the council tax. Then they scramble to cover the rent, but default on a credit card.
Yeah, that is exactly how it plays out on the ground. And treating a single missed payment in isolation completely ignores the customer's overall financial position.
Because energy arrears rarely sit alone, do they?
No, almost never. They usually sit right alongside overdrafts and other forms of borrowing.
So that $4.79 billion NIA figure is really proof that affordability pressures are already widely affecting household finances everywhere.
Absolutely. And because these debts do not exist in a vacuum, the collection sector really has to adapt its approach to people managing multiple arrears at once.
Right. The current climate raises urgent questions for the collections sector, especially regarding affordability assessments and vulnerable customers.
And communication strategies, too. Creditors have to recognize that earlier assistance, like the 175 loft discount, might actually stop manageable arrears from turning into persistent debt.
So collections teams might need to factor that targeted support into their existing repayment arrangements.
Yes, they have to. Providers must reassess what customers can realistically contribute toward historic debt as winter approaches.
But, this raises a real practical dilemma for the collections industry.
Definitely.
If a customer gets a $175 discount on their energy bill, should a collections agent view that as freed up cash, like cash that can now be collected toward historic debts?
That is the trap right there. Or should it be treated as essential breathing room for a vulnerable debtor?
Exactly. Which one is it?
Well, energy bills are no longer just a standard cost of living issue. They are directly tied to responsible debt collection and sustainable repayment.
So if an agent grabs that $175 to clear an old debt, they just push the customer right back into the red on their daily essentials.
Right, and then the repayment plan fails anyway because the customer defaults on something else next month. Realistic repayment plans are crucial.
So to briefly recap all of this for you, a 175 energy discount for households earning under £24,000 could offer some real relief against winter pressures.
It acts as that necessary buffer.
But with historic energy debt sitting at $4.79 billion, creditors absolutely must prioritize understanding a customer's total financial picture.
Yeah, that is the only way to set realistic, sustainable repayment plans that don't just collapse a month later.
Exactly. Which leaves us with a final question for you to ponder today.
Going back to that blizzard analogy.
Yes, if domestic energy debt is hitting historic highs despite previous interventions, are we relying too heavily on emergency winter discounts to treat the symptoms of a broken system?
It really makes you wonder about the long-term strategy.
Right. Might the future of responsible collection require energy companies to permanently restructure how essential utilities are billed to financially vulnerable households year-round?
That is definitely something the industry needs to face.
Thank you for tuning in to Debt Matters.